In this tutorial in Microsoft Access, we're going to look at some tips of structuring the fields in a basic database. So we'll start a new one. To do that, once I open Access, I'll click on the blank desktop database. And then it asks where I should put it. We'll leave it here, and I'll click on OK. We're calling it Database 2, and we will create it. Now when I begin, it puts me in this tab mode with a click to add. I'm not going to add anything. I'm going to define some of my fields first. So to do that, I can right-click on the tab and go into the Design view. And it wants to save the table. The customary way to save a table is to begin with the prefix TBL, and I'll just call this people. It'll have data for people in it. Click on OK. It starts out with an ID field, which is an auto number field, which is pretty normal. I'm going to change it from ID to person ID with no spaces, but it still will auto number, so it will make sure that every record is unique. And then it asks for some other fields. Well, let's put in a first name. Notice I don't use a space, because if I'm ever going to use Visual Basic, it's more difficult when you have field names that contain spaces. So either use no space or an underscore. And then it says, what's my data type? Well, a name will be text, and short text is fine, but notice the field size is 255 characters. I don't have too many first names that are that long, so I can even go as large as 50 and be fine. And then I can put a caption in. Sometimes it's nice to put first name with the space here, because if I go to build a form, it will immediately look here for the name of the field rather than the one without the space in it. A default value, of course, I don't need that for a first name. One other one is it required? Now, if it's required, I cannot complete a record without a first name. In this case, I'm going to require it because I can't conceive of too many cases where I have information without a first name. Can we allow zero length? I'm not going to worry about that. Another one is index. If I click on index, you get the note here. An index speeds up searches and sorting, but it might slow updates. Well, I think I'll index this field. So I'll down arrow, and I can allow duplicates or not. Well, there are probably going to be more than one people with the same first name, so I'll allow duplicates. And text align, we won't mess with that one right now. So those are some of the controls. Let's quickly go ahead and do the same thing for last name. And we can have the same options we can set here. For example, I'll change that to 50 characters, and we'll call it last name. And we'll require it. So click on the down arrow and go for yes. And I won't necessarily index this. This will be a short. Let's look at another field. We have street, address, and let's assume we won't have more than, 150 characters in the street address. I won't tweak all the parameters that I could. Then we'll do a city, and assuming most cities won't have more than 120 characters. And next would be the state field. I'm going to leave that blank for now. But what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this. So I'll click on the view option up here. I'm going to save it, yes. And now I have saved it. Now I can put data in. So I can put in John Smith and then go down to the next record and so on and add fields. So this is a table with some information in it. But now I want to put the state field in it. But let me show you a neat way to do that. What I'd like to do is show you a different technique that's not related to designing the table, but pulling in a table.